This is another video by Florida Crafter. Hey everyone, it's been a while since I did a video and I wanted to get this one in real quick because I did something really fun this weekend that took no time at all, and it is just an endless source of really inexpensive and very cool embellishments that you can use for scrapbooking. So let me start by saying that I've never used clay before. This is the first time I've ever tried it, so obviously it's got to be easy enough for me to do on the first try. But second of all, because I'm just doing this for embellishments, if you are like a major clay person out there, I'm sure I'm not doing this the way that it's supposed to be done. I'm sure that what we're going to talk about is probably not the ideal way to do it, but it works. And for getting some really inexpensive embellishments done, it couldn't be faster or more fun. So let me just tell you what I was doing. I had all of these wonderful little buttons here. These are mostly antique. Some of them are just vintage, but I think almost all of them are antique buttons that I've been hoarding forever because I don't want to use them because they're the only ones of their kind. They were actually in some of my grandmother's stuff, and I would have been devastated if something had happened to them. And, you know, frankly, they just don't make them like this anymore. So, anyway, you can get a bunch of them on, you can find them on, they're not really expensive. It's just that, you know, they're probably $1 a piece if you were going to buy them. But anyway, so I had all these, and I took a handful of them that I wanted to try to make out of clay. Because I thought, God, if I could just make a mold out of it, use the actual clay as the mold, then I can go and make as many as I want afterwards. Now, it seems obvious, but, and then I also found some of my old, I actually took this off of a used clock I found at a thrift shop. So used this as well, and I'll show you what I came up with. So first I just took some Sculpey, any polymer clay that you can use, Fimo, whatever, any of them that you have to bake. And I actually got this, you can see I got this at a thrift shop for 50 cents, so huge investment here. And you just wind it into a ball. If you don't have, if it's a little bit hard, you can use a pasta machine that you've cleaned out and don't use for pasta. And they actually have special machines that Sculpey makes their own, actually, that you can buy for about 20 bucks to run through, and it looks just like a pasta machine, but it's just for clay. So make a little ball, and all I did is basically kind of flatten my ball. And then I took one of my little button doodads, and I literally just pressed it in. And I pressed it in so that it was even, kind of flat to the ground, but then even around the sides. So sometimes I had to actually push it down because you want the top of the edge to be as parallel with the ground as possible. And sometimes if your clay is a little too warm, it might stick. So, but usually it came out perfectly like that. And then you stick this in the oven for 30 minutes. I think they have different temperatures depending on which one you're using. For the Sculpey, it's 275, I think. For Fimo, it's like 230. And yeah, so I cooked it. It comes out looking like this. Mine was obviously smaller to start with. And I'll just remind you what the original button looked like. It was this. And then the little ones that I made on my own was like this. And I just think that's so cool that you can, all I did is I painted it black. So it had a nice dark surface. You could do brown or black or whatever for the bottom. And then I used some Rub and Buff. You can use Inca Gold. I actually like the Inca Gold better. It's a little easier to control, but I only had one. It's in the platinum color. So the gold stuff, I'm still working through my old Rub and Buff. But anyway, so I did this with a bunch of them. I did this one, and this is how they turned out. Let's see if I can get that one up close for you. Pretty cool, huh? I think it looks amazing. And then I did this one, and I didn't really know what to expect because obviously I wasn't going to do it all in metal. So I wanted it to look like it was a pearl in the center. This one kind of came out a little bit wonky the way it comes out of the mold, so I might have to do it over, but it's not bad for a first try. And I ended up using pearl colored paint in the center. and then I'd used the black paint on the outside and the rub and buff. And yeah, so I think it turned out pretty good. Definitely different look than the original, but obviously still the same form. And then some of the ones that I thought were super, super cool is I have one of these old buttons that has like a flower pattern on it, which I think is so pretty. Can you see that? I'm trying to get the reflection. There you go, to get the flowers. And so I made a couple of those. And again, I think they just turned out amazing. Just super, and you can't believe how easy this is. So all you do once the mold is ready is you take a little ball of clay, and you'll figure out the size as you get used to doing it, and press it in. It's just to make the form, right? And then you pull it out. You usually use some sort of release powder, like a talcum powder or baby powder, that you put at the bottom of the mold before you put the clay in. That helps the clay come out. But literally, I mean, it's, again, the first time I've ever done it, and I can't believe how easy it was to do and how easily it turned out. And then I did some that had some pretty intricate patterns on them that I just thought I wanted to see how well the patterns would actually turn out. This one is an all metal one. When I made one and I did it all metal looking for the actual specimen, but I think if I did it again, I would make that center look more like a pearl, because I think that would look really cool. And then I had this very cool old button too that had some really nice work on it. So this is the mold for that one. And again, turned out amazing. I didn't do it all the way down. I wanted to make it a little bit smaller because I thought it was a little too big, but I got the main pattern in it. And as you can see, it really turned out very nice. And then this is the one for this one. And I ended up making myself this little button. And again, I think I would do pearl maybe on the inside of that. You just need the time and the patience to paint it. And then the flowers, I showed you the flower one already. Oh, here's the other one. This was the other metal one. And I just did the inside of this design. And as you can tell from the size of my final button, when you get into the larger things, it becomes more obvious. These do shrink a little bit, the clay does. So when you cook them, not very much, like maybe 5 or 10%, but as you can see, you know, it's definitely a little bit smaller. So it's magnified because it shrinks once when you do it in the mold, when you make the mold, and then it shrinks again when you make the button. So I think I might do this one over with a little bit more lip on it because it may be a little smaller than I actually wanted, but it's a very cool design. So, okay, and the last one I did was this little hand from a clock I picked up at the thrift shop, and I probably would have done one that's a little more sturdy than this one because it was actually kind of hard to push it down into the clay, but I used a little pokey tool and just went along the various points and pushed it down, and ended up with this as the mold, and it actually turned out better than I expected. I was really not hoping for a lot out of this because of the flimsiness of the starting shape, but you know, I probably would get one that's a little more sturdy for next time, and maybe cut it out a little more cleanly, but not bad. So anyway, go make some molds and try making some cheap embellishments, because honestly, what else in the world could you possibly do for, you know, 50 cents of clay or whatever? They probably only cost $1 at the store if I got it for that at the thrift shop, and a little bit of paint and some rub and buff. So there you go. Enjoy, and please share what you make. Bye.